It is the face of BKFC and the king of violence himself, Platinum Mike Perry, who on Saturday, July 20th, is going to take on the infamous Jake Paul live on DAZN, or if you're in Tampa, Florida, you can go see it in person at Amalie Arena. Mike, I just got to ask you, this matchup, this whole fiasco, is it still a little bit surreal to you, or at this point, getting close, are you fully locked in on the reality of this matchup?
I mean, come on, man. John, I've been a high-level pro fighter for years. For the past 3 years, I've been having these big fights, and they've just been getting bigger for me. So I've earned my mark here. I've earned my place here. I've been making the money, so the money is nothing new to me. That's not, anything overshadowing my performing abilities. The journey itself, I saw a picture yesterday of Goku on Snake Way, which is when he travels to King Kai's planet, and it's like it's all about the journey that leads us to where we need to go. And I love a violent journey. I'm here for the violence. I'm here for the destruction and the damage and the pain and the suffering and all the hard work that it took to get here and everything that comes after. Once I show these guys, man, I have some plans and ideas. I just can't wait to get out there and perform Saturday, July 20th, and show the world what a real fighter can do in that boxing ring.
I love it, man. I love to hear that. So for anybody that doesn't know, they may say, wait, I thought Jake Paul was facing Mike Tyson, but of course some medical issues forced him out. Iron Mike is out. Platinum Mike is in. So I got to ask you, first off, were you a little bit surprised that Jake took this fight? Because I know you wanted this fight, but to be honest with you, I didn't think Jake Paul was ever going to face Mike Perry. I'm like, I don't know if that goes well for him. Were you surprised that he signed and said, I'll take that fight?
No, I was not surprised. There's lots of casuals that are going to learn a lot of things about the fight game, real fighters and fighting in general with this matchup here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jake has faced a couple of greats with Tyron and Anderson Silva, but in the boxing ring, they don't have the experience that I've obtained through fighting bare knuckle fighting championships, BKFC. Shout out to David Feldman. Fighting BKFC definitely made me tougher, made me stronger, and it keeps making me stronger. I don't know. I put my own platinum thing onto everything I've been doing in these fights for the past few years. I wasn't surprised, though. I expected this. It just made sense that, Jake was going to fight the old Mike Tyson, who's not the Mike Tyson that we might know of anymore. And even Mike Tyson himself has said, I saw a video today where it was his post-fight speech in one of his fights, and he was like, maybe I don't got it. He was like, I can still train, I can still do it, but I just don't have the man stomach for it anymore, or he just didn't want to anymore. He had been past it. He had been to the greatness, and then maybe taking a seat back for a while can make you hungry again for it. But I've been in this realm dominating, and I take no back steps, no precautions. I make it as hard as possible on myself so that when I go out there, I get to perform. And I'm excited to do it, man. I've trained extremely hard for this, blood, sweat, and not a lot of crying going on. But I think about crying sometimes when I'm running miles or things like that.
I love it, man. All right, so you talked about the what you've accomplished in BKFC, and we've talked about the incredible run, the names that you've beaten as well. It's been incredible, but this is different, right? The gloves are going on. We got more rounds. We got 8 instead of 5. We got longer rounds, 3 instead of 2. So how much do you think of what you've done in BKFC translates to this, or do you feel like this is a completely new, completely different challenge?
Well, I've been, I box all my life. I get in the ring. It's my favorite thing to do is box. And Jake, my boxing record may not show, but I am a professional fighter with 30 pro fights. I've got tons of amateur experience, and I took some of the toughest fights in the world. Jake never had an MMA fight. He'd never been kicked. He'd never been, he never had his arm ripped apart. And, just my experience in fighting and my mentality as to going to bare knuckle with a professional mindset and a street mindset and putting those things together. Boxing is what I do. It's my favorite part of training. I get in the ring. I love the feeling of nerves and just not being too sure about myself. Last week I was sparring and I got 3 guys I got to spar and fight in an 8-round segment, and I'm the only one that's got to stay in for all 8 rounds. And then I'm getting fresh guys, they're getting rest, and then before it starts, I'm like, damn. And then as soon as it starts, and I get to move around, and I start throwing my weight around, and I start pushing these guys, and I feel a couple of hits. I'm like, yes, I can do this. I'm so good at this. I'm so ready for this.
I love it, man. That's why we love watching you fight. So, trash talk, antics, all the stuff on Fight Week. What do you think, right? Because this guy, he's kind of made a living off of his social media, his antics, his talk. But, hey, you're a showman too, man. I still remember a UFC debut like it was yesterday. The Hung Yu Lim handshake had me cracking up. I was like, I like this guy. So what's going to be your approach? I mean, do you engage and, like, let's have some fun back and forth? Or is it like, hey, I'm going to stay above that because I'm focusing just on this fight? Like, what do you think Fight Week's going to unfold like?
It's the entertainment business, and we do got to get people involved. And, it depends on – I think both of us are going to open a door, and it's going to get a little closer to being severe. I think it starts small and you build up. It depends on what his team wants to do. His team, who aren't fighters, they want to say things, and that's something that pisses me off. You could stay out of it, because if you're not in the ring and if you're not taking punches, then you should shut your freaking mouth. And the other night when we were doing the live on Jake's Instagram and mine, I was talking with Jake and it was fine, but then his little buddy who gets on, he wants to say, they made a video where he said something where I come from, if you say that, that's one of the worst things you can say. And so when I saw him and he wants to make his little jokes, it's like, you ain't getting down, you ain't fucking fighting, so why don't you shut your fucking mouth and let me and Jake talk? And, he can say what he wants to say. But at the end of the day, Jake didn't really want to have much to say. He was like, oh, I've been in the ring with you, or he says he's going to beat me fast. He said he's going to give me $500K if I make it to the 7th round, which if I beat him before the 7th round, that'll be his only excuse, that he's like, well, you didn't go to the 7th round, even though you beat me. So he's not going to give me that extra 500. Now he might fall down sooner than I anticipated. But I'm violent, bro. Like, I'm with the shits, bro. We can get on some street shit. I got my people. This is my city, my town, my state. Florida is where I choose to reside. I love the state. I love the people here. And I did see a comment. Someone tried to talk about Claremont. Shout out to all my people in Claremont. We hard as hell. Yeah, don't come here. Don't come here. You ain't gotta like Claremont. We don't want you around here. So don't come over here. And Tampa is close by. That's like home. So we gonna be in Tampa. Florida's gonna show up, and everybody wants to see me beat on the Disney kid. And I trained hard for it. I'm looking to put the pressure on him and punch him in the face and make him cry.
I love it, man. Well, the MMA world's going to be pulling for you, man. You kind of laid out some of the names he's beaten, right? Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, even Ben Askren. So, I mean, when you step in there, are you repping Team MMA as well? Are you carrying the sport on your back, or is this just all about Mike Perry going in and doing his thing?
that's a tough question because whatever works, whatever's gonna work for me now. Now it's automatically stamped on. It's like that. You know, we don't have a tattoo like wrestlers do, right? Like American wrestlers have that
Right.
blue and red tattoo, and some of the UFC fighters that have that tattoo. Now there's guys in this new boxing, MMA boxing era. But I've been doing this. It started when I left the UFC and I fought in the triangle. I fought a pro boxer, a very high level pro boxer, and as an MMA fighter, I had too much grit, too much pressure, and I showed that I have better boxing skills than what we've seen. Other than Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury, I have better boxing skills than any MMA fighter who has left MMA, because also we know what happened to Anderson or to Francis when he fought Joshua. Obviously Joshua looked the best he's looked, but you know, I've been out here fighting, just striking, and that's the difference between me and Nate and Tyron and Anderson, is that I was just doing the hands, just the boxing, and it's how I fought MMA as well. I was a boxer knocking out MMA fighters. I didn't care about kicks. I was good enough, strong enough in grappling that no one really took me down. The one time I got in trouble, I took the guy down and, you know, ran into that. So, or I got kicked in my face with the hardest kick, and I was wanting to throw hands, you know what I mean? So, you know, those were mistakes that I've made and learned from. And now I feel prepared, whether it's just boxing or any type of fighting. Even though this is just boxing, gloves or no gloves, I can punch. I'm trying to put my knuckles through the glove into Jake's teeth, and you know, prove I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hit him hard. I'm gonna hurt him, and he's not gonna like it.
I love it, man. Well, I love the name of this event, Fear No Man. And I'm sure Jake's team thinks that describes him, but we absolutely know it describes you. So what would winning this fight mean for you, man? You've been calling for it for a long time, man. You've been putting in the work, putting in the effort. But what does a victory here mean for Mike Perry?
It means a lot of things. It means, you know, it means the most important thing is that I stay focused and ready to take on this challenge and all the drama that comes with it. I got to stay focused, tunnel vision, because Jake will be a challenge as he's big. This is the biggest weight class I've ever fought in. I have a chance to be fast and relaxed as far as speed, fluidity, and putting my combinations together, looking the best I've ever looked. And if I do all these things, we're talking Hall of Fame. We're talking, you know, the Independence Day card is the day before my birthday. I definitely want to go watch that at the Sphere. Haven't been in the Sphere yet. Like to see that. And, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll get UFC pay-per-view main event after I beat Jakey. And we'll just go back and have a one-of in the UFC.
I love it, man. I would not turn that down. Well, Mike, I don't watch every Jake Paul fight, but I do watch every Mike Perry fight. So I will be tuned in on Saturday, July 20th on DAZN. Mike, combat sports legend. Love watching the continued success. Pleasure. You know we'll be watching.
I appreciate you, my brother. Make sure y'all go to Ticketmaster.com/MVP and get your tickets to the event at Amalie Arena, Tampa, Florida. If you can't make it live in person, go to ppv.com and watch live July 20th, Saturday. Platinum Mike Perry gonna knock out Jake Paul for the world to see, baby. Let's go.